The tendrils still linger. Just finished watching several videos in a row. First off, Stepford escapee's announcement about the major lawsuit that a young woman won. I just finished watching slanelca's video of molestation and suicide. I also saw Femme 40 Trish's video. And last I just saw greymourning's recent video, and that was a very powerful video. That was a very powerful video. I just want to personally say I was never molested or raped like that of any kind, but I do want to mention something that greymourning had mentioned about being indoctrinated from the very beginning. When you're a kid, you really are just put in this box, and there's no other outlet to really build yourself up or anything, or you get these mixed messages. It still astounds me that there are people out there that really just don't give a rat's ass. And on top of that, the Watchtower is also one of those people that didn't help any. I know how it's like to really be desperate enough to leave the organization, or desperation when you're a young kid, because you want to know what's out there. You know, you want to be able to experience all the great stuff out there, whether it be good or bad. And especially when you're taught that you really don't have any self-value or worth. You know, the society doesn't do much for self-esteem at all. It doesn't. To this day, a good example, especially when you're a young growing teenage girl or guy, you know, there's not many kids around, at least when I was growing up, there's not many kids around that are your age, and if they are, they have their own little clique of pretty people. And to this day, I don't think I'm very beautiful. I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'm very, very pretty at all. I don't think I'm that appealing to look at. When I was a lot younger, I was overweight. I just thought I was really disgusting. And, whenever, you know, especially in school, I mean, school, you know, it's a lot worse, especially when you're a Jehovah's Witness and you're slapped with not very appealing looks or body. That's like a double whammy. Because at least if you weren't that good looking, or if you were a little on the heavy side, you would have at least had a personality to fall back on, and you would have at least had some sort of circle of friends. When I was younger, in middle school, that was the hardest years. I had a very small circle of friends that I couldn't even hang out with. The most that I could do was talk on the phone with them. And my mother would never plan dates with them or anything. You know, I was kept in a cage. And as far as suicide is concerned, you know, as I got older, that just became like the best way out. You know, the automatic feelings of isolation and the loneliness is like insane. Now, You know, sometimes I don't know what's worse. You're either locked in a box all your life, or you escape and you are being brutally raped, and, you know, just for the sake of escaping that mental, you know, that control factor that the Watchtower Society has on you, you know, or just escaping from that, just so you can have some sort of semblance of a normal life, and then you end up getting raped and beaten, and then when you come back, they told you that it's all your fault. That you asked for it. I don't know what's worse. I think both are worse in its own way. The tendrils do still linger for me sometimes. They're not as bad as they are now. I think now they're a hell of a lot. It's so much better for me now than I can honestly say than 5 years, 6 years ago. But the tendrils still linger. Sometimes I can be sitting at an office for an interview and I feel the pangs of sadness. Of that, you know, am I ever gonna make it in this life? Am I ever gonna, you know, do something special or do something that goes beyond just a day-to-day thing, you know? Like one day I'd like to actually perform in front of an audience with my singing skills, but this is why I say this is so important to use this medium to continue to keep talking. And I loved Greymourning's video. Granted, it was very, very... It's a mixture of sadness and liberation. But what she said at the last point of her video, of just being not being told that you're good enough, or you just being that you should pray hard and everything will be okay, and then having to go through the hell in school and stuff, I could totally relate to that. There have been times where I've had planned either my suicide or my runaway attempt. My mother didn't understand it. Neither did my family. They were indoctrinated in their own shit. And I guarantee you that if I spoke to my family, they would tell me that's you. That's not the Watchtower. Well, you know what? Like I said before, the Watchtower and me being brought up has a lot to do with it. And I have a lot of anger towards that. And that is something they're going to have to contend with. And, you know, it's a lot easier to deal, you know, I really, really agree with Greymourning. It's a lot easier to deal with the physical pain than it is to deal with the emotional and mental pain. Because with the physical pain, there's a medium for that, you know. You cut yourself, you could get a Band-Aid or something. You could physically do something about it. For me, I'd starve myself. Especially when it came to the body and self-appearance. You know, I still have self-esteem issues. I'm going to be flat out honest. I still have self-esteem issues. Though, you know, I'm doing the best I can to learn to love yourself, which is something very important. But when you're raised in this all your life, and you have a double whammy, being raised as a witness and going to school in normal daily life, it warps your view on what's expected of you, you know. You don't think you're attractive to any other person, let alone a guy. If you want to be with a person, you don't think no. You don't. I literally, the first time I had lost a lot of weight, I had starved myself for over 5 days. I didn't eat one thing. I was so angry at myself. It was a punishment for me. Didn't care if I died. Didn't give a shit. There are days where I still have those fingers that still tempt me to do that. Though now with experience, you know, I know a lot about eating healthy and exercising and taking care of myself, but when you're in that self-loathing state, oh. But, with those thoughts, I want to send a big hug out to greymourning. I hope that life is treating you well now. I hope you have a good physical support system. Though honestly, I wish I were there to be there with you in person. This is the best as I'm gonna get out here. But with that said, I will end this vlog. Everybody have a great weekend. And until next time, peace out. Ciao.